Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hi, and welcome to episode 230 of Total Retail Talks. I'm Joe Keenan, Executive Editor of Total Retail. Joining me today is Eli Winkler, Chief Marketing Officer at La-Z-Boy, a leading home furniture manufacturer and retailer. We're going to be discussing how La-Z-Boy is transforming its business to remain relevant with consumers through innovation and personalized experiences. Thanks for joining me, Eli.
Thanks for having me, Joe. Appreciate it.
So I think probably most of our audience is familiar with the La-Z-Boy brand, but for those that aren't, can you maybe tell us a little bit about the company?
Sure. So La-Z-Boy is over 90 years old. It was founded by two cousins in Monroe, Michigan, where the company is still based today, really with the goal of making furniture more comfortable. They invented what's commonly now known as the La-Z-Boy recliner, inventing a new category of furniture in the process. And the idea of inventing and innovating comfort to meet the needs of our consumers is still very much at our core of who we are. Today, La-Z-Boy, though, is much more than recliners. We make products for every room in the home, be it living room, dining room, bedroom. And consumers can get that via a mix of wholesale distribution amongst national and regional chains, as well as mom and pops. And then through our 350 plus La-Z-Boy stores across the country.
So great. So now with that kind of background in the company, let's talk a little bit about kind of the retail landscape as a whole and kind of the changing consumer behaviors and how that's impacted La-Z-Boy as a furniture in the furniture category.
Yeah, so in furniture, the reality of the situation is that the way that people buy furniture today isn't all that different than the way that they purchased it 50 years ago. The majority of consumers still want to see it, touch it, sit on the furniture that they buy. The biggest change that we see is that consumers walking into our stores are just far more informed. The vast majority of them begin their purchases online, and by the time that they walk into a store, they've already narrowed their purchase decision down to 2 or 3 retailers that they're comparing between. They also jump back and forth quite a bit between brick and mortar and online during the purchase process, because for most, furniture is something that's a highly considered purchase, and so it points to the need for a really strong connection between digital and the brick and mortar experience. And so, for us as a brand, we really see 3 tenets for how that comes to life. It's being customer centric, it's being cross-channel, and it's being personalized.
So you mentioned kind of some of those shifts in consumer behavior. They're extremely well researched when they walk into one of your stores, having done their kind of homework online, and then the kind of the jumping back and forth between channels, online and offline. So let's talk about then what you've done to adjust the business to account for kind of that disruption in the marketplace. We're seeing those shifting behaviors. Yeah.
So we definitely kind of don't ascribe to the belief that retail is dead. Certainly undifferentiated retail with a brand that doesn't stand for something will have its challenges. So we're really kind of focused on delivering value for our consumers at each and every touch point. And so we've made meaningful investments across the business, and certainly will continue to do so on the go forward. On the technology side, we've given consumers an incredible amount of choice, the ability to be able to view and customize products in an innumerable number of ways, while also providing inspiration at every turn. We've given them the opportunity to view that product in the context of their own home via augmented reality. So definitely a lot of investment on the technology and online side, really to deliver value and choice for our consumers, to drive inspiration, recognizing that that's how, by and large, they're leveraging our online business. Within retail, we've also made an incredible amount of investment. We've introduced a new store format. It's an evolution of what we've done historically, which we feel really speaks to the differentiating characteristics of the La-Z-Boy brand. It showcases our breadth of product. It incorporates both technology as well as services into the retail experience in a manner that feels supportive, but not overwhelming. So for example, we've introduced kiosks into our store environment to support that idea of the endless aisle. We've added virtual reality into our stores so that customers using our free design services can see what their homes will look like transformed in front of their own eyes, right? So our designers use a 3D room planner where they will redesign the customer's home. And historically, we've shown that to them in a presentation format. We now have the ability for consumers to really step into their home reimagined. And so this idea of delivering value to the consumer, even extends for us post-purchase. For large purchases like appliances or furniture, consumers are typically given a window of time when their product will arrive on the day of delivery. And usually it's not a short window of time. It's 2 to 4 hours, and so we've actually added the ability for consumers to be able to track their product on the day of delivery, so that they know to the minute when it's scheduled to arrive and where they are in the order of deliveries that our trucks have on that day.
Great. So you mentioned, I'm going to dig into a little bit about kind of the marriage of brand and technology and some of the innovations there in terms of, I think you've started working with a partner, DMI, to help support those efforts. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about brand innovation, what that means to La-Z-Boy, and how DMI is helping there?
Yeah, sure. So, amongst brands, I think in large part these days, you have this idea of radical simplicity. You do one thing, you do it really well. As a business, we take a little bit of a different perspective, and we quite frankly provide a tremendous amount of choice for our consumers. And and furniture is a very personal purchase. It's really a reflection of who you are. It's your style, the needs you have as a family, and so quite frankly, people are more different than they are the same. And so if you want to buy a single recliner for us, we'd be happy to show you that. We'd be happy to sell you that. If you want to use one of our designers and our free design services, certainly we can come to your home and remake that. But where DMI has provided a lot of value for us is in the ability to be able to customize products. We have over 23 million different SKU combinations, and so serving that up to our consumers in a dynamic and a speedy manner is a tough challenge. And the ability to be able to sort through all of that with what are 60 different price points across those 23 million different combinations across the country is also a bit of a challenge. And so we really rely upon partners that help us define how do we provide value to consumers, where is there a need to deliver value for them, and DMI has certainly been helpful to us on that journey.
As I mentioned in the intro, in addition to the investments in innovation and technology, the personalization and giving your consumers that personalized experience with La-Z-Boy across all these different channels is paramount for the brand. So maybe you want to talk a little bit about how the company is using data to improve the interactions its customers are having with the brand.
Yeah. So let me talk about that from two perspectives. The data that we collect and utilize as a retailer, and then also the data that, quite frankly, we have as a manufacturer as well, because we're a fully vertically integrated business. As a brand, we're very focused on utilizing behavioral data really for marketing purposes. And as I mentioned before, furniture is a considered purchase. And typically the average purchase process lasts just over 70 days. And so the type of information that you need on day one is quite frankly very different than the information that you need on day 70 when we're really focused on getting the consumer to hand over their credit card. And so we've focused on kind of marrying behavioral data that we have visibility to with third parties, marrying that with our first party data, both online as well as offline, to really speak to the consumer in a relevant way throughout their entire purchase journey, both in terms of where they are in the purchase process, but also the categories of product that we think that they may have a likelihood to be interested in or that they've shown an interest in already. So for example, the types of communication that we're going to provide to a consumer who just has an interest in purchasing an individual recliner is very different than the types of information that we'll provide to them if they're interested in a sofa, which shows a willingness and an opportunity, quite frankly, to purchase an entire room. And so there's elements of personalization in every digital customer interaction that we have across all of our channels, whether that be paid or owned. As a manufacturer, we also produce a lot of data, and increasingly we're focused on organizing and leveraging that information really for the benefit of our customers. So for example, we know where a customer's product is in the manufacturing process, when the parts have been picked, when it's being made by one of our teams, when it's been completed. And so there's a real opportunity to be able to leverage that, to provide value for our consumers so they're more informed as they're waiting for their customized product to be manufactured, as well as for us to be able to communicate the value that takes place in the differentiated way that we go about making a product at each and every stage.
So you mentioned earlier that La-Z-Boy obviously is invested in physical retail, through your wholesale partners, but also company-owned stores. Can you talk a little bit about kind of the company's future plans when it comes to brick and mortar and kind of the experience your customers are getting in those stores? Obviously, the company-owned stores, you have a little more control over that. You can kind of dictate the experience when somebody walks into a La-Z-Boy store. But how about some of your wholesale partners? What's the experience like there? How much control do you have over that? And kind of just in general, where do you kind of see physical retail fitting into La-Z-Boy's future?
Yeah, so physical retail is definitely a core component of what we do, and will continue to be on the go forward. We are opening new stores, we're remodeling stores, and so it's definitely the cornerstone to our business. In terms of how we've improved the experience for customers, I really think that you need to look no further than our free design services. For a lot of people, buying furniture is tough. We do it every 7 years or so. We don't really have enough practice at it to be good at it. It's why people love design shows. There's magic in creating that before and after experience for consumers. And so we started out offering in-home design. We heard from consumers that not all of them have the time or feel comfortable having someone that they didn't know in their house. So we've expanded it to in-store design as well. And free design services has become something that it's somewhat vogue to offer in the home furnishing space, but quite frankly, I think that we do it better than anyone. We have one or more professional designers in each and every one of our stores who create beautiful plans for consumers to help them reimagine their spaces. Within La-Z-Boy, as I mentioned before, over time, we've added technology into that process as well. And so there's definitely within our branded stores a few things that are paramount to that experience, which are service-based, that we've added and will continue to add over time. Amongst our wholesale distribution, it's about getting customers to understand the differentiating nature of the product, the elements that go into making a quality product and a comfortable product. And so we've actually, over the course of the last year, been working with our retail partners to roll out what we call branded spaces, really shop-in-shops within our wholesale partners, so that they have a tool to effectively sell the La-Z-Boy brand. It provides a space where our products can be merchandised together in one area versus throughout the store. It really becomes a beacon for customers to discover the La-Z-Boy brand, to learn about the brand. And so for us, it's really making sure that the brand is celebrated in the right way, that sales associates have tools to be able to effectively sell it, and that customers understand where there's value.
Yeah, it's one kind of follow up on the company owned stores is maybe you can just speak to it, the kind of the value and the importance of the in-store sales associate, those design teams. I mean, the training that they have to go through, because they're really, this, as you mentioned, this is a highly considered purchase. Customers that are coming in store, a real potential value for that is they're getting to access to these, experts. Can you talk just about kind of the importance of that in the entire purchase journey?
Yeah, so I believe that we have experts in our stores, both sales associates as well as professional designers, and these are individuals who, in many cases, have worked with us for years. They know the product inside and out. But really their goal is to understand the needs of our consumers and to be able to narrow down what is those 23 million different combinations of products that we can create for our consumers into a handful that's going to enable them to have their space transformed and to have a space in their home that really is an opportunity to bring family together and create meaningful memories. And so understanding the needs of consumers, the nature of their family, the size of their home, it's really a process of discovery, and our sales associates are a helpful partner along that way. Our designers play a little bit of a different role, and it really is about showing the potential of what a home can be. It's about that act of transformation, and quite frankly, we as people aren't that good at being able to reimagine the spaces in which we live. It's certainly a unique talent, and it's something that our designers go to school for. So most of them are professional interior designers. They're accredited. They've gone to college for this. They go through a process at La-Z-Boy as well to make sure that they understand how to go through the process with standards that we've set and tools and technology that we've provided, so that experience for all consumers is consistent. And so, quite frankly, our people, as much as our retail experience is what bring our product and our stores to life.
So my final question, Eli, as the CMO of the organization, where is you and your team's priorities from a marketing perspective as you kind of look to go forward here and continue to grow the La-Z-Boy brand?
Yeah, so we're continuing to invest in our stores, in our people in the field, and the tools that we provide to them. As I said, I think that there's still a really meaningful place for good retail, for good brick and mortar. We're continuing to focus on expanding the impact of the La-Z-Boy brand, to growing the product information and resources that we provide to our consumers during that discovery and evaluation process. I think that there's an opportunity for us to inspire our consumers far more so than we're doing right now, specifically by leveraging our deep expertise in design, both at a product level as well as at a consumer level within someone's household. We're certainly focused on consolidating data and leveraging data across touch points, both in terms of how we personalize our marketing communications and how we take meaningful leaps and bounds in doing that, but also in improving the sales and service process for our customers, and making sure that each and every time that we talk to a consumer, whether that be through our comfort care customer service team or in store, it's not as if it's the first time that we've talked with them. And then we're continuing to drive alignment amongst our dealers. We're continuing to leverage the sales impact of developing broader and more impactful omni-channel capabilities. Fortunately, I think for our marketer these days, there's a plenty of frontiers that are ever changing and that have the potential to really deliver a tremendous amount of value to the consumer and create a much better purchase process for them in retail than they've ever had before.
Great. Well, I want to take this opportunity to thank Eli Winkler of Lazy Boy for joining me today. Please check out our podcast channel page, mytotalretail.com/podcasts for show notes. Total Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher. But make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. Also, please take the time to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and I look forward to you joining us on the next episode of Total Retail Talks.